Hey everyone, welcome back to a new tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how you can make a nether tree farm that produces up to 100,000 items an hour. That's a full double chest in just 2 minutes. This farm takes around an hour to build if you follow along with the tutorial, and once completed you just need to supply it with a bit of bone meal and fungus. Now let's get on with it. First, you need to decide which version you want to build. The first option is the Brute 100,000 an hour design, which doesn't produce any bone meal but does give you stacks of stems, shroom lights, and warp blocks. Or you can build the semi-self-sustaining version, which produces 40% of its own bone meal that it consumes, but doesn't give you any nether wart or shroom lights. The process for building both of these farms is identical, up until the end where you have to add in the item filters. Today, I'm going to show you how to build up both versions. Here are all the items that you need for the Brute version. And here are all the items that you need for the self-sustaining version. Also, if you want to collect Crimson variant of blocks instead of the warped, just switch out the Nylium. And remember to pause the video here while you gather everything that you need. You may also want to bring a few scaffolding blocks such as dirt or leaves. Just to let you know, I'm going to be building this farm in creative and layer by layer from the ground up. So by now you should have decided which version that you want to build. I'm going to be building the 100,000 an hour version. And yes, so you want to find a nice flat piece of land like this, and we're going to make a row of blocks 13 across. And then go 4 blocks out from that and place down a chest, and then another chest, hopper going into that, and then make that 13 blocks long as well. And then add in the hoppers. Next up, you want to put chests on top of the hoppers like this. This is going to make it so that all the items flow down to the very bottom chests, so you don't have to, if this is empty, all the items from here are then going to flow into the chest below. So grab those out. Then you want to also put more hoppers facing into these chests like this. And then over here, we're going to put down redstone repeaters on these blocks. And then blocks facing into those on both sides with torches. And these torches are just going to lock the hoppers until this repeater here gets powered. Okay, for the next layer we're going to want to create a little roof over these redstone torches, going 13 blocks across, and then make it come out like that. So now it's covering up the repeaters as well. And then we want to get another row of hoppers facing into the blocks. Make sure they're not facing into the hopper, otherwise I'll break it. And then around the back here, add in a line of dust. So for the next layer, you're going to want to have your comparators and place them like this. And some dust. And this little circuit is going to filter out all the items. Then get your hoppers and make sure again they're facing not down into the hopper below them, but into a block like this. And also don't make them face the hopper next to them, they'll also break it. There we go, just double check that they're all facing into the comparators. And then, I'm going to get our glass out. I'm going to place a block of glass there. And then packed ice. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks out. Place another bit of packed ice. And then build like this. And then keep going for another 2 blocks. And then kind of loop it around like this. Another bit of packed ice. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that. So this is the beginning of our water stream. Make a little wall around this concrete, loop it around here, get a pressure plate on top, glass, and then a double chest, some glass panes, another pressure plate, and more panes across like that. Then here, we're going to want a bit of glass there, and then lava. So this is going to be our item overflow. So if the system ever fills up, all the items are just going to get burnt, and it's not going to create a ton of lag for your world or server. Okay, fill this in with concrete too. Then we can add in the water. You don't need a glass pane here because the water isn't going to flow over, so you don't have to worry about that. So now we're going to start to build up the massive item transportation system. So we start here at this block, and going to build 7 out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 13 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Just to be sure, it should line up with your lava. And then you just want to fill in this whole platform. So I can use a command here. There we go, so your whole platform's filled in. And then you don't want to forget this block right there. That's really important. So it's right next to the lava. And that's that layer done. Okay, so we start at this corner here. Build across 1, break the block, and then 4 across like so. Come in 1 block, then 4 more again. And then we're going to build from here all the way over to that edge. And keep placing blocks until it lines up. There we go. And build across like this. Have like a little barrier on the side. And this is going to line up just like so. And then from here we're going to skip across a block. Build up. Like that. And then over here we're going to fill in this whole area. So again, I can just use a command. Speed it up a bit. Okay, so now that area is filled in. I want to come across here as well. And build across. And yep. Also going to want to put in our first water bucket. So this is going to come down here and it's just going to overflow here. And it's going to create a nice little water stream for all our items. This should be what your current build looks like at the moment. You got the chests underneath, you got an item filter installed, and a few bits of water. Now we're going to continue over here, so come 2 blocks out like that, and then build all the way across until it lines up like so. Skip a block, come out 6, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then all the way across again until you line up with the other edge, like that. Build across once more, come out a block, and then kind of like border around the previous platform like this. And that's that part done. You can also chuck in a water bucket there now. So that's going to flow like that, that won't be a problem. And then you also want to come around here. And that's that section done. And then fill in this massive hole with more blocks. So for this next section, we're going to start over here. 2 blocks like that. Build across. And skip a block. Build over again. Like that. And then we want to come out an extra block. So you get to the corner and then you got 2 more blocks. That's that part done. Also want to make sure that you get your water installed. Kind of see it all come together now. So there's no way for items to get stuck here. If they go in like the corner, for example, it's just going to kind of brush up against it and then flow across. So now I'm going to show you how to do the item filters. So you need 5 of them to be stems. So you get your stem block, you can put 1 in there, and then your filler item. In this case I'm just using named cobblestone. So just go across, fill it all up. Once you've got your 5 filled in, you can also use crimson stems if you want to get that variant. Just replace the item filter with the stem block, like that. And then you want 6 of them, or 7 actually, to be the warp blocks. And then the lucky last one is a shroom light. There we go, now it's going to sort out all the items that you want. Of course, if you don't want the warp blocks, you can always compost them, as well as the shroom lights. Two things to note, these stem blocks, they aren't burnable in a furnace, so they can't be used as fuel, and they also can't be composted. If you want this to be like a bone meal farm, this can't be composted. Okay, so now that we have all the item transportation systems done, we can start building up the redstone. So, we're going to come over to this corner here, and then go across one, and build up 3. So 1, 2, 3, and get rid of your support blocks. And then we're going to build a little kind of snake pattern, so we're going to go like that, and then come up around here, and you should have like this layout. Then we're going to get a piston, sticky piston like that, and then run redstone wire across. Then we're going to have a block like that with another piston and a concrete block, and then a downwards facing observer like that. Then over here you're going to want 2 blocks like that, come across one, and then a 2x2 of blocks there. So from here we're going to want to place in a comparator and another one facing the other direction, and then some dust like this with a torch on the edge and some more dust, so it should look like that. Then get a block here with a dispenser facing upwards and 2 hoppers in like that. Then we're going to get our nylium blocks, place them like so. Over here we're now going to want to place another downwards facing observer like that, and then that's that section done. So for the next layer we want to get a block, then get our lever, put it on top like so, and then also going to need some glass. Get the glass on top, blocks around it like that, another one there, then a comparator, block on top, dust on top of this hopper with a hopper facing downwards into that one. So it should look like that. So make sure all these hoppers are pointing into each other so items can get through into the dispenser. Then over here we're going to want to get a block with another hopper facing into it. So this is what it should look like at the moment. Now you want to get an upward facing observer pointing into a block with the dispenser facing inwards, and then 2 hoppers, and then bring that hopper line out like that. Get a chest with a comparator, and then fill the hopper with 5 items, and then fill the chest with a different item. Now get a piston like that, so any block here is going to get pushed out. Okay, sorry everyone, I forgot one block, which is this button here. So if you don't put this button in here, then it's going to place down a warp block, and then the comparator is going to constantly power the piston, which isn't what you want. So make sure that you have your button in there, so then no warp blocks can generate. And then now we want to come over here, get another observer with a bit of redstone dust on top, get a piston, then get our slabs, build 2 outwards like so, then get comparator facing into a block with some more dust like this, a repeater on 4 ticks facing into another block with a trapdoor. So now we're going to start in this corner, get a piston there, 2 more pistons on top like that, and then face a downwards facing dispenser like that with 2 hoppers running into it, then a dropper here. Get out your signs, place a sign there, place another sign there. Then we want to get our droppers again, place a dropper here like that, and then have them running into each other like this. So all the items are then going to get transferred along these droppers and into the dispenser. Now over here we want to get a trapdoor like this. This is going to come in handy later. Now over here, get 2 scaffolding blocks like this. Going to make a little signal transmitter out of that. And then out the back here, going to want to get 2 concrete or full blocks. And then get some more chests and another hopper like that. So we begin by placing 3 more hoppers on top with 2 dust out the back. Then another solid block there, hopper leading into it, and a scaffolding block on top of this scaffolding block that's above the trapdoor. Gonna come back over here, place down another trapdoor, and then a hopper facing into the dropper, and then make a line coming across like this, get out a sign, sign there, then a hopper, then another hopper facing into that one, and then bring that out one more block. So now we're going to start getting into the piston wall. So we're going to start by coming out one block across, and then building all the way until it overlaps the hoppers by one. Then get some more blocks here. Going to get 4 of them. 2 chests above the hoppers, another scaffolding block, and going to get some hoppers running into this block here, running into the chest. These are going to come out like that, so it kind of goes on top here. Then we're going to need an observer. That's going to be facing downwards, like that. There we go. So we're going to stack another row of pistons on top, with 2 solid blocks at the back, another scaffolding block. Then over here we're going to run dust along the top, with some more chests, like so. Just like last time, another row of pistons across the top, with some blocks coming across like this, till they connect. And then one more scaffolding block, and another downwards facing observer, like that. This next part, another row of pistons all the way across, with some dust on top, coming down here as well, with some glass, and then another scaffolding block. Next up, place a piston here, and then 4 more like that, blocks connecting them at the back, another scaffolding block there. Now we're going to want to place some blocks across here too. So I got 4 of them, another downwards facing observer, and then at the junction here, 2 more blocks, so it creates this little L shape with a sticky piston, and another bit of concrete. And then we're also going to come out 2 blocks here and place in a stair. Can be any stair. Cobblestone's pretty cheap. And then build across until it lines up with the piston wall like that. And then loop it around like so. And then you want to make sure that this side also lines up with the other end of the piston wall. Then loop that back around. And then we're actually going to waterlog these stairs. So this is in case you don't have any obsidian, right? You don't have diamonds yet, you haven't got obsidian. You can use waterlog stairs. They're blast proof, they don't take any damage from TNT, so that's just a cheaper alternative. So for this next layer, I'm going to stack up some more pistons, dust out the back, then another scaffolding block on top with concrete and observer facing out the back, pointing into a block, and then more dust with a redstone repeater like that, and then dust going across the top like so. Here we're going to want to get some more pistons on top coming across, and then 2 more blocks out with scaffolding and a downwards facing observer like that, and then a row of blocks going all the way across. Then some more pistons, some more dust, and another scaffolding block, another observer facing down, more pistons, and more blocks out the back. You can see it's starting to come together now. It's not really taking that long to build, especially if you have like light matica. It can be really simple and trivial to make. This next layer, more dust on top, another row of pistons, a lot more pistons in the last design, so we should be able to grab a few extra blocks. Then the next layer, even more pistons, more blocks out back, dust on top, another observer facing downwards with more scaffolding, surprise surprise, more pistons, and a bit of dust on top of that observer, because that's going to carry the signal all the way down. Bit of a change with this one. Going to have the normal scaffolding and a downwards facing observer, but we're also going to be going across like this with a sticky piston and concrete block, then your normal pistons with blocks on top, and then redstone dust on top of that, another bit of scaffolding. Now we're going to have an observer facing or looking at the scaffolding block, pointing into a block with a bit of dust, concrete, repeater, and another block. Don't forget to add in the second swimming pool. So go 8 blocks across, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then build up 1. Loop it around just like before. Make sure that it aligns with the pistons. I went over by a bit. There we go. Fill it up with water once more. And then you can get rid of these blocks. So now when you get to this point, you want to make sure that everything's working. So I'm going to hop down here, turn the lever on, and then the way you get into the farm is by crawling. Make sure this dispenser here is actually filled up, otherwise the comparator won't get an output. So you can just put like 1 block in there, it's going to spit it out. It's actually going to want bone meal, something that the dispenser won't spit. Now if I just put down a full block, you can see these pistons are all going to fire, and then the piston right here is going to instantly fire, so I can constantly place down warped fungus. So now we're going to start to build up the TNT logic. So 2 scaffolding blocks up, an observer pointing into a block, another one across with a sticky piston, block, sticky piston, block. Then a redstone dust with a repeater on 2 ticks, very important. Another block, and some more repeaters. Facing into a block like that. Now we're going to build up like this with dust on top. So from here we're going to go diagonally up 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then dust all across like that. Now here we're going to go up 4 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then dust here, but not dust on this block. So now you should have something that looks similar to this. Okay everyone, so the next part is going to be quite tricky. We're going to be making the TNT modules, so those ones over there. Pay close attention. To begin, place a sticky piston next to the redstone like that, and make a U shape with your slime blocks. Then come across, like this. Kind of have the C pattern, so it's a bit hard to orientate, but it looks something like this. Then get your wall, place it on top, with your coral and TNT. Now this is the most important part. You do not want to place your detector rail and minecart on top like that, because then you're just going to prime the TNT and everything's going to blow up. Instead, what you want to do is you want to come across 1 block, place down your rail and minecart, get another block, and a piston. And what the piston's going to do is push it across without updating the TNT, and now you're going to have a primed weapon. But from here on out, whatever you do, do not touch the TNT, do not update it or anything like that. So updating it means just changing any block next to it, because then that's going to make it fall down and blow up some stuff, which we do not want. Now I'm going to reprime this so you can see it again. Detector rail, minecart, block, piston. Piston pushes it across, and remove the piston first, not the power source. And then now this is your little TNT duping module. And it's shooting the projectiles out sideways, so we're going to take advantage of this. Go across 2 blocks, 3 actually, and place down 3 more honey blocks like that. So now what's going to happen is if I power this piston, it's going to send the TNT sliding along the honey, and it's going to be slowed down and explode at just the right height. So now we're going to make something similar over here. Going to have a piston next to the block like that, another U shape, another hook shape like this, with more coral, cobblestone wall, or any wall, TNT, and then arming it. Get the minecart in, and push it across like that. Now it's armed. You can test it by just going like that, and then the TNT will go flying. Looks pretty cool. And then now we're going to do something slightly different with the honey. So we're going to come across 2 blocks again, and then 2 honey like this. Then we're going to leave a gap and place another honey block. So now you'll notice that the TNT is going to explode much higher up than before. And there you have it. That's your 100,000 an hour nether tree farm completed. It took me around about 20 minutes. and that was with, you know, me knowing how to do it and all, so for a newbie, it should take around about an hour, hour and a half. Now I'm going to show you how to make the semi-self-sustaining version. These are all the items that you're going to need. Note there's a few differences, namely the soul sand, you need a bit more glass, and composters obviously. So we're going to start over here near the item filters, and you only want to build up the ones that filter out the warped stems. Okay? So, I'm going to drop down a few blocks, and we're going to place composters. So we're going to build 6 like this, and then have 2 rows of them, with hoppers facing down on top, like that, and then get some glass panes running across. Now we're going to want to get our water bucket back, place the water bucket going across like so, get out a pressure plate, place that in at the end, then get your glass and an observer facing upwards, with a glass pane in the corner and another glass block there. Now you can place in your lava bucket like that. So for this next part, you're going to want to place a dropper diagonal from the bottom composter, and then hoppers all along the bottom like this. Again, make sure that they're all facing into each other and then into this dropper. Then take a comparator output from that, do a block, and then a downwards facing observer. So now whenever this dropper fills up with stuff, this clock's then gonna deposit that. Okay, so then a soul sand underneath the dropper with glass on all 4 sides. And now we're gonna want to build up this glass all the way to the top. So you want to make it so it's the same height as that chest, and then do that on all 4 sides. So now that we're here, place a hopper facing into the chest, and then a row of glass along the top. Then glass on top of the chest like that, and on either side. Come around like so. And then slabs on top like that. Then lastly, put in the water, and then get your kelp, and build up. So now if I remove the kelp, which you can do by just removing the glass and then breaking it, any items that get deposited into the dropper are now going to be sent up like this and into the chest. So that's about all you got to do for the self-sustaining version. It produces around about 40% of the bone meal that it uses, which is pretty good considering the efficiency of the farm, which means that you only have to supply it with 8,000 bone meal an hour. Now I'm going to show you how you can refill your farm with fungus and bone meal. So this dropper here is the fungus one, and you want to put a hopper with a chest like that. You can fill this up with fungus, or you can put a shulker box on top with fungus in it that can drain into it like I have done. And if you come around here, you have this chest, which is the bone meal chest. So it splits off in all these different directions and refills a bunch of dispensers. So you can do what we did before, hopper with a shulker box filled with bone meal, and that's going to slowly fill up everything. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you can get in here in survival, because it's a little bit difficult. First, flick the lever, turns most of the farm on, then crawl under here like so. Then click on this dropper and grab out at least 3 warped fungus. And then you can just hold down right click.